Okay, so I'm making a video about why I'm going to get rid of my hamster. I've been kind of wanting this kind of since the beginning because I started noticing that it wasn't as good. So I've had hamsters for quite a long time, and I always go for rubber. They're like this big, and they're just so adorable. And like, say if I'm shouting at my mum, I would like look at the hamster and just be like, "Oh, sorry, hamster," and start apologizing to the hamster for shouting and scaring it and stuff. And it's just I feel like I have such a strong bond with Roboroskis. They're just so like cute, and I have things like a doll's house there, um, and um, and they, it's perfect size. I know you have to take the bits out. There's some like the flowers you can't give them to the Roboroskis because they'll eat anything. But because they're so small, there's not actually that much they can eat. Like there's only a small amount of stuff that they can eat. And so, but yeah. If you take off the small little bits, the Roboroski can have a bit of fun playing around that, and it's so cute to take pictures. And also got caves and just a huge variety of stuff, and so there's perfect size. And the Noah's Ark as well, the boat is actually really perfect for a Roboroski. But yeah, I always get them in twos. And this pet always the pet shop always used to tell me that they can get along. That screen keeps freezing. I hope it's working. But yeah, they used to tell me that Roboroskis can live in twos and that they don't fight and stuff. But usually after 2 months, 3 months, or even 3 weeks. And one of them only lasted, one set only lasted 11 days before they ended up eating each other. I went away for a weekend and I came back, and one had been eaten and the other had just died. And I don't know what happened, but I think their water must have frozen over or something. And because there was a big blizzard, I was supposed to be gone for 3 days, but I ended up being 4 days because there was a big blizzard, and I couldn't get my coach was cancelled, so I had to come back on the fourth day. But yeah, they had already died by then, so I don't really know what happened. I know they were very young. I only had them for about like 11 days or something, which is really annoying. Um, Actually, no, I think that I had those for 2 weeks, and then there was another set that I had for 11 days and had to separate them. And because I had to separate them so early, I was like, well, let's see if I can take them back to the shop. And then I took them back to the shop, and then the shop wouldn't sell me another because they said that, oh, you can't get another if you just take them back, which is so annoying because it was like, well, can I have one of them back then? And then they were like, no, because you just given them away. It's like, well, look, I just wanted one. Basically, I like having them in one cage because I hate the idea of having to change two cages all the time. So, but yeah, anyway, I wanted two to live together. But yeah, I realize now that Roboroskis cannot live together. They're solitary animals, and don't let a pet shop tell you that they can live together because I have not managed to be successful at that. But anyway, oh, I'm going off again. And so anyway, this time I've got a Syrian hamster, which I went for Syrian because I thought they're twice the size. They're probably a bit more intelligent. Maybe I can form a better bond with them. Maybe they'll think more and they seem more inquisitive. And I just wanted to kind of see how different a Syrian would be from a Roboroski. And But yeah, I after sort of getting to know it, or trying to get to know it, I realized that they're definitely nothing like a Roboroski. The first thing that I noticed is that it's scared, so scared of everything. Like it was in a cage, a biggish cage for 2 weeks. And I thought, oh, it looks a bit sad and I'm not really taking out much. So let's see if I can get a second cage. So I got a second cage and put tubes together so that they could use them both. And then I played with it in the second cage for about 3, 4 hours. And I tried to get it to go back into the original cage that it was in for 2 weeks. And it was like it had no memory of it or being in it or anything of it. And it's just like, you were there for 2 weeks. And like 4 hours later, you can't remember like being in it or feeling comfortable in it or anything. And so, yeah, I think Syrians are a lot dumber than Roboroskis. And because they're bigger, I'm more worried about their bite. And I know I have been bitten by a Syrian hamster when I was a kid. Bieber had one, and yeah, I got bitten. It wasn't that bad, but it's always made me like not want to hold them or touch them. And I was trying to sort of see if I can try it, but the more I looked at it, the more I kind of saw a rat rather than a hamster. I mean, rats are very intelligent, and I've seen some amazing things play with them and stuff. So rats are even better. I just don't like their tail. I think their tail creeps me out a bit. But yeah, so I think a Syrian hamster is like a very dumb rat with no tail. And yeah, and so that was the sort of first signs that I was thinking, should I have really got this one? I mean, it's so cute, it's so pretty, but it's not a Roborosky, and I don't feel the same sort of connection. I feel it's scared of everything. It's scared of its own poo. Like if it would drop something, it would suddenly like shake at the thought of dropping something. And if I do that to the cage, it shakes every single time. I can do one, two, and every time it freaks out. Whereas with the Roborosky, yeah, I don't even know. The Roborosky kind of didn't even notice me. Like they were the kings of me, basically. How I saw the Roboroskis is, they would do whatever they want, and they wouldn't kind of pay much attention or notice to me, which was annoying because I really wanted them to interact with me more. But it was more of a challenge to get them to interact. And when I did get them to interact, it worked quite nicely. Like I got them to feed off my hands, and okay, sometimes they did bite me, but they're so small that it doesn't hurt. But yeah, the Syrian though, I've given it food, like a carrot or something. Say, oh, it looks hungry, I'll go give it a carrot, and then just kind of like looks at me like I'm some sort of weirdo, and then just walks off. And then I was like, what? I've just done you a favor. And then I go and get a lettuce, and again, it just looks at me like I'm some sort of freak, and then walks off. And it's done that so many times. And with the Roborosky, I used to be able to give it food, and then it would kind of like come rushing up to it, be so excited, like its birthday's just come, and then it'd eat with me. So I'd eat like my food, and it would eat the food, and it'd feel like I'm eating with someone or something. And so I had that kind of bond with the Roboroskis, even though they were all over the place. And I would have loved, throughout all those couples that I've had, I would have loved to have a Roborosky kind of like sleep in my bed and not run off. If you put a Roborosky in your bed, the first thing it will do is just run away and try and jump off the bed, which it means you couldn't snuggle up with them, but at the same time, it was just more exciting and more fun and more vibrant, and yeah, they did fight, so I always had to keep them in separate cages, which was not what I really wanted. But I like the belief that I could make them work together. But after I don't know how many attempts, 7 attempts or something. I don't know how many attempts I've had of couples. I've never managed to get them to live together, and so because of that, if I get a Roborosky again, which I'm hoping I might do, I will only get one. Just get one, except that I'm not going to be able to make two live together, and then just go for that. But yeah, I thought I'd go for the Syrian just to see how it was, and well, things started getting worse. So first I noticed it wasn't really interacting with me much. It wasn't very grateful for anything that I did it. Then I found it harder to touch it, because once I tried to pick it up, and it looked really slow, and then suddenly it just like freaked out and jumped off my hand, and kind of went on the wrong side of the playpen. So I had to pick it up and put it on the right side of the playpen, but it was just it ran out my hand and sort of shot up like a bullet back into the playpen. And I was just like, okay, that was a bit weird. So yeah, it freaks out way too much. But one good thing about them is that it likes to be in a tube. So this is where I've put it on the plate on the cage, and but yeah, it's very, very, you can see it in the so it's nice that I can actually kind of like keep it on my bed, and the problem is it could be there. I can put that pipe in my bed at like 7 a.m. in the morning, and I could forget about it all day and come back at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's still there. It's one side is closed and the other side is open. And yeah, during the day it's happy, and it's a pen, and it doesn't make any attempt to move. But at the same time, it's boring. I find that boring, just sleeping all day. Like, I'm not awake during the night, I'm awake during the day, and for it to just sleep all day basically, it's I'd feel like I'd have to put a bit more effort into making it do something or something, and I can't really make it do something because I don't really want to touch it, on the other hand. So I like touching it, like stroking it, but I don't want to like pick it up, and so for all these reasons I feel like I need to I found someone who's going to pick it up. Hopefully it's going to be today or tomorrow, because I want to go to London, and I don't want to have to leave it by itself. I don't want it to go to somewhere that someone who might just serve it to a snake or something. Like there was one guy who called me up about it, wanting to know about it. And then I asked him, what kind of cage have you got? And he was like, a cage? Like he had no idea that Syrian hamsters live in cages. And I was like, yeah, you need a cage. And he said he doesn't have a cage. And then he asked if he could buy my cage. And I was like, no, because like I said in the ad, I'm probably going to go back to the Roborowskis and I would need the cage for that. And so he was like, oh, okay, I'll get a box. And I was just like, yeah, no, that's not, I actually don't know what he said. He might have said the box thing, but I've got a feeling that he might just get a box, which is stupid because hamsters eat through boxes. So they eat for everything, literally. That's another thing that I didn't like about it. If you let it go running around the room, I'd follow it, and then within 5 minutes, it would start scratching up the carpet, like digging. It loves digging, and so yeah, I think it needs to be on floor that is hard and not. And I think you also need to train it to not dig. Like I was training it. I was picking it up every time it started digging, and then when it started digging too much, I was like, put it back in the cage. But yeah, it's not for me. I'm sure it's very cute, and I'm sure. Thing is, that's the thing. I like intelligent animals, and when I see an animal in a cage, I feel sorry for it because it's like, oh, it's a small cage. But these animals, this animal particularly, it's dumb. It's really dumb, and so seeing it in a cage is a bit like you belong there because you're not very intelligent. With the Roborowskis, I would let them run around the room, and I could spend hours just letting them run around the room, and they don't really damage anything or anything, and they might try and chew for a wire, but they would give up after a few seconds and not make it through. Whereas the Syrian hamsters, if they wanted to chew through a wire, they could do so very quickly, and they would get electrocuted. So you can't really just well, you can, but you have to be a little bit careful about what they do. And to be honest, it's so stupid that I don't even care if it does die. Like that's like I don't know, I haven't formed a bond enough with it. Like with the Roborowskis, it would be really sad if it died. Whereas these ones, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really care enough. I think it needs to be smarter. And I think the Roborowskis are smarter generally. But yes, it's very nice. And I didn't want to make this video until after I'd given the hamster away because I don't want to disencourage anyone to take it from me because I don't want it. But anyway, the point I'm saying is just why I'm getting rid of it. There's quite a few reasons. Oh, and also I've bought it a big wheel, but it sounds like a washing machine when I'm downstairs doing a massage, and you can just hear this like some sort of washing machine going off upstairs, and it does that during the middle of the night as well. You're trying to sleep, and all you can hear is this as it bumps along the ground. I think I need to maybe put it on. If I think it'd be okay if you put it on tissue rather than on sand. I put it on sand because that's just the space. There's just the space available has allowed me to put a big sandpit and then have to put it on top of the sandpit. But it's just so noisy, and I don't want to disencourage anyone for getting them because I don't want it. So if someone else wants to take it, that would be great. But at the same time, it's definitely not for me for many different reasons. And I will get a Roborowski if nothing happens in the next few weeks. I will get a Roborowski back because I still don't know what's the plan for the future. I just know that the worst thing about this thing. This is the main reason why I want to get rid of this hamster because I've seen it eat its own poo. Literally, it was chewing on something black, and I was like, the only thing black in your cage is the sunflower seed shell, which you don't eat. And I took a closer look. It was just going like that on its poo. And there was another time where it was just sleeping, and then there was like lots of little poo bits around, and it was moving its mouth, and every time it moved its mouth, the like poo kept going in and out of its mouth, and it was disgusting. And I opened the cage up. It was 2 days ago this was, and I tried to flick this out, trying to flick out the poo, and then it bit me, and I was like, what? Why are you biting me for trying to remove the poo from your cage so that you'd stop eating it? And yeah, and its poo's a lot bigger than the Roborowski, then its pee's a lot bigger than the Roborowski's. I have a towel underneath it because it's in the tubes now. It keeps peeing and the pee goes into the towel, but now the towel's all smelly, and I'm kind of really wanting to get rid of it now. But yeah, I'm not going to take it to the RSPB because I think they've got enough problems on their hand. But I found someone who does look after it. And at the beginning, I was like, make sure it has a big cage. And after having it for such a long time, I'm just kind of like, I don't care, I don't care, just take it. I don't want it. But anyway,